I'm Anna Garcia, right now on True Crime News. Ashley Benefield, the Black Swan ballerina convicted of killing her estranged husband, has been sentenced. Prosecutors say her tearful testimony during her sensational trial was all an act. Now she'll spend 20 years behind bars. Plus, a mom of four boards a cross-country train, but when it arrives at the station,
she didn't get off the train.
Only 28 years old, the picture of health, dead in her seat.
It wasn't the conductor that killed her, and it sure wasn't her kids.
I went to Colorado to investigate the bizarre mystery that would take years to solve. Hi everyone, welcome to True Crime News. We begin with a story that had America hooked and that we covered extensively here. Ashley Benefield, better known as the Black Swan ballerina, convicted of killing her husband Doug. Only True Crime News had the exclusive video of Ashley reenacting what she said happened the night she shot him dead. Ashley claimed it was self-defense, but the jury didn't buy her story. Now a judge has handed down her sentence.
I'm going to sentence you to 20 years in Florida State Prison. That's to be followed by 10 years of probation.
The Black Swan, Ashley Benefield, sitting stone-faced as Judge Matt White spells out the price she will pay for shooting her estranged husband, Doug Benefield, to death during a heated argument 4 years ago. Reporter Kylie Jones of our Tampa Bay news partner Fox 13 was in the courtroom for the 2.5-hour sentencing, where she says the mood was tense.
Very emotionally charged, high emotions on both sides. It was just very quiet, and everybody was really waiting to see which direction this would go in.
When the sentence was announced, the victim's now 23-year-old daughter, Eva Benefield, sat expressionless.
When the sentence was read, she appeared to be very emotionless and have a very straight face, held her composure.
But Eva had harsh words for Ashley during victim impact statements, making reference to her half-sister Emerson Benefield, a child Ashley had with Doug. Emerson was just 2.5 years old at the time of the killing.
Ashley, since the day you shot my father, I have only had one question to ask you. Why? Why did you end my dad's life knowing he was my only living parent and the only person I could confide in and count on for everything I needed as I turned into a young adult? Why did you willingly take away your daughter's father, knowing the consequences of your actions would leave her without either parent to help her navigate through her own life? You somehow managed to orphan not one, but 2 young girls.
Other members of Doug's family also delivered moving statements.
He was truly a hero in my life. Every day, I feel a kick in the gut from the loss of my brother Doug.
The worst part of it is that there's a 6-year-old that will grow up not knowing the man that we've known all of our lives.
Outside the courthouse, Eva expressed satisfaction with Judge White's decision.
My dad was the best man that I've ever known in my entire life. I'm really content with the sentencing, the verdict, and you know, I think that I waited so long to be able to speak to her face to face, and I finally got that for myself personally, so I hope prison serves her well.
But others in the courtroom were none too thrilled.
It's very disappointing. And at the end of the day, it's very evident that Ashley acted to defend her life.
We first heard from psychotherapist Dr. Barbara Russell when True Crime News showcased a series of photos and computer-generated animations created by Ashley's defense team. The purpose, to reenact for jurors the events around Doug's death. Though the images were never presented at trial, Russell took the stand then and during sentencing. Since the shooting, she has become a confidant, even housing Ashley for months at one point.
Douglas Benefield had a history of violent behavior. He behaved in a manner that made her feel as though her life was in danger.
It isn't just that somebody would be handed a 20-year prison sentence for acting in self-defense, for taking action to protect herself when she believed her life was in danger.
Russell met and evaluated both Doug and Ashley when they were involved in an ugly custody battle over their daughter. She has long held Ashley was simply defending herself and is concerned about the long sentence.
She looked very, very sad. She looked very scared. She looked very emotionally exhausted. I know that, being in jail is hard. There's nothing warm and friendly about a jail environment. By no means is it comfortable.
It's a far different life than the one Ashley had with Doug when they first met. She was a 24-year-old volunteer on Donald Trump's first presidential campaign. He was a recently widowed 54-year-old with a teenage daughter. Sparks flew, and after just 13 days, they tied the knot. Within a year, Ashley was pregnant, but their marriage was already on the rocks. The couple's fights grew so dramatic, one ended with Doug firing a round into the ceiling of their home. At her murder trial, Ashley tearfully recounts the lead-up to the last fight that turned deadly.
I just held the gun in front of me, and I said, "Stop." And he turned and he got into this it was a fighting stance. I got low and he started moving his arms and his hands around, jerking motions. I thought he was gonna kill me.
5 weeks after Doug Benefield's death, Ashley was charged with second-degree murder. After claiming self-defense at trial, she was convicted last July of a lesser charge.
We, the jury, finds the defendant is guilty of manslaughter, a lesser included offense.
Now the sentencing is the final curtain on a story that has gripped the nation for years.
Here we have this woman who was a very successful professional ballerina. This is not someone who you would expect would be arrested for shooting her husband. And people love controversy and people love sensationalism. And I think that this case became very sensationalized very early in the game. And people love to follow a good story.
When we come back, a woman mysteriously dies on a train trip with her family, and her killer almost got away with it. Welcome back. A young mom boards an Amtrak train in Wisconsin with her children. When it arrives in Denver, she is found dead in her seat, and nobody can explain how she died. I went to Colorado to investigate this cross-country murder mystery. A young mother boards a train from Milwaukee to Denver.
Marina was on her way to start a new life.
But Marina Placensia won't be stepping off alive.
I get a phone call saying that they're trying to resuscitate Marina.
It wasn't the conductor that killed her, and it sure wasn't her kids.
Marina Placensia, a sweet teen with dimples and a bright smile, grew into a young woman who turned the heads of men wherever she went.
This one guy just kept watching and watching and watching, and next thing you know, bam, right into a pole.
One of those men was Angelo Mantich, who set his sights on the 18-year-old raven-haired beauty after spotting her at a party.
He wrote his number on a dollar bill, and he kind of dropped it by her, and she picked it up and saw the number.
The sly move paid off. Angelo and Marina started dating, and the relationship moved at warp speed. How was Marina feeling about him at this point?
Oh, she was massively in love with, scary love. They were obsessed with each other.
But behind the bloom of new love, Marina's mom, Terry, who worked as a counselor at a domestic violence shelter, saw red flags.
I said, Marina, he's pretty, kind of intense. He needs to know where you're at 24/7. I said, that's not healthy, baby.
When I told her flat out, "Sis, I don't like him. I want you to steer clear of this man," but she chose not to.
It wasn't long before the family says Angelo revealed a dark side.
What did you see? In the beginning, it was perfect. Everything was fine. Good old fairy tale relationship. And then you see abuse start to happen.
And you couldn't get rid of him?
No, I tried. And no. Mom, I love him.
Little did the family know 24-year-old Angelo would soon become entangled in their lives forever.
She says, Mom, we've got something to tell you. Oh, crap. I I got a feeling I know what this is.
She was pregnant?
Right.
But in time, her family claims even the children weren't safe from his explosive, violent temper.
What did the kids tell you?
Her daddy said that he would hurt them if they said anything. Oh, the 2-year-old would get popped in the mouth and he would make her bleed.
According to police reports, cops were called to the house numerous times to do welfare checks, but no action was ever taken.
And was there anything you could do?
No, I tried everything. I would do the safety checks with the officers. I'd have them go down and check on her, because I never trusted them.
Marina finally did file an official report of one instance of domestic violence. In it, she writes, "I'm submitting a copy of the medical records where he broke my eardrum. I got lucky this time. I don't want my kids to pay the price." And Angelo was finally convicted of domestic violence.
And I said, oh, thank God.
And when he was locked up, a tiny glint of strength sparked in Marina, who took the first tentative steps to build a new life.
She got set up. She had this little apartment. Her and the 3 boys are safe. This is amazing. I'm so happy.
But even a prison cell couldn't keep Angelo from terrorizing Marina. The family claims she received a chilling message.
She said, Angelo tells me, if I can't have you, no one will. And if I find you're in a relationship with somebody else, I will kill you.
Despite the alleged threat, Marina accepted Angelo back into her life.
She was a grown woman, and so we couldn't really interfere with her decision to want to take him back.
But when Marina's family claims the violence and stress reached a tipping point, they hatch a major plan to rescue Marina from Angelo.
We were going to, in better terms, kidnap my sister and them kids so they can be safe, put them in a safe home.
And Marina had no idea about the plan?
No clue. No clue whatsoever.
Up next, the wheels are in motion to save Marina, but the cross-country plan would go horribly wrong.
Did she die in Nebraska? Was she dead when they were in Illinois? I have no clue.
We're back with the mysterious death of Marina Placensia, who died in her seat on a train. It would turn out that taking that trip would be a fatal mistake. It was a master plan. Marina and the kids would take the Amtrak train from Wisconsin to Colorado. There, they would stay in Denver with Marina's brother, get a restraining order, and be convinced to finally escape her violent marriage for good.
He didn't know where Therese lived, so Marina was safe because there was no way he could find her.
But Angelo gets wind of the family's cover story. He quickly buys a train ticket and joins them.
Yeah, we found this out like 2 or 3 days before they were leaving. It's okay, he can come. Who cares? We have our plan in motion.
Marina's brother would confront Angelo when they got off the train and take Marina and the children away. But no one could imagine what happened next.
I get a phone call saying that they're trying to resuscitate Marina.
Strangely, when the family arrives at the station, only Angelo and the kids get off that train. Marina is still in her seat, not breathing.
She didn't get off the train.
No.
At the Denver station, Marina was already dead.
I know what happened to my baby. He beat her to death.
Her heartbroken family gathers at Christopher's house, and in the most bizarre move imaginable, Angelo goes along with them.
And every time he turned around, that's all he was concerned on, sitting on my couch and asking for another beer. He had no emotion whatsoever.
While the family struggles with the sudden death, the coroner performs an autopsy. The results are devastating. A horrifying map of 35 recent injuries on the young woman's body, showing a blunt object hit her face, mouth, and jaw. Contusions covered her from head to toe, bleeding in her brain and in her stomach.
She was beaten from head to toe?
She was beaten from head to toe.
But in a shocking report, the Denver medical examiner determined not even one of Marina's injuries on their own would have killed her. So the cause of death is listed as undetermined.
How can they tell us an undetermined death? To me, it sounds pretty evident.
With no actual proof that Angelo caused Marina's death, shockingly, the case is not considered a homicide investigation. And not only are detectives unable to determine how she died, they can't determine where she died, as the train passed through multiple states, including Wisconsin, Iowa, and Nebraska, before arriving in Colorado, which covers multiple police jurisdictions.
Did she die in Nebraska? Was she dead when they were in Illinois? I have no clue. You figured the professionals should be able to tell you that.
Then, in another blow to the family, Angelo is not arrested nor charged with any crime related to Marina's death.
This is what has me really, really puzzled. I've watched programs on TV where there's not a body, you can't prove nothing. But here you have a body. It's trying to tell you something.
And listen to this audio recording of what his boys are reportedly telling family and social services shortly after Marina's death.
Would he hit her a lot?
She got bruises everywhere. Then he punched me.
He punched you?
I don't understand how one could be so evil.
I'm having a really hard time hearing the description of how these children were treated. I'm really having a hard time with this.
We don't want to go street justice. We want to do this the legal way.
It would take an unbelievable 7 long years after Marina was found dead on the train, but finally now, Angelo Mantich is behind bars.
When it comes to light and he's proven guilty, there's no more hiding.
Last year, Denver police charged Mantich with first-degree murder. According to court documents, the key was a follow-up forensic investigation where a doctor eventually determined Placensia died from suffocation due to being attacked prior to the train ride and succumbing to those injuries. Investigators say she had trauma consistent with asphyxia and that no other medical conditions could have resulted in Miss Placencia's death. The manner of death is homicide. Now, as Mantich awaits his murder trial and the family awaits justice, there's still one question that will forever haunt them. Could they have done more to protect Marina while she was alive?
I let her down. I truly believe I let my sister down. She made it home. But now she's home in a little jar. That sits on my dresser.
Angelo Mantich is awaiting trial. We'll be following this case and bring you updates on truecrimenews.com. If you or anyone you know is experiencing domestic violence, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 800-799-7233, or by texting START to 88788. On the next True Crime News, 2 young girls come home to a horrific scene. Their mother murdered, stabbed to death.
It was brutal.
Despite some leads,
anybody in this town's capable of murder.
The case goes cold for decades.
It really has been one big giant puzzle for law enforcement.
Until her grown daughters uncover a mystery man. Could he hold the key to solving this murder?
I keep thinking I should have stayed.
On the next True Crime News. For the latest breaking crime news, go to truecrimenews.com. Watch more exclusive content on our YouTube channel, listen to our podcast, and follow us at My True Crime News. That's it for today's True Crime News. I'm Anna Garcia. See you next time, everyone. Crime doesn't stop, neither do we.